Irreversible pressure already sat inside the ring, because once Muhammad Ali stepped forward and said Bruce Lee's name out loud, the moment belonged to everyone watching. Ali's voice carried first. "He doesn't get to stand there," Ali said. "Not here, not with me waiting." Those nearby later disagreed on how loud the crowd became at that point. "Come on," Ali continued. "You walked in, now walk closer." Bruce Lee did not answer. He didn't smile, someone later claimed, and that felt louder than words. "Say something," Ali said, impatience cutting through the grin, "or say you won't." What follows was never meant to be verified. Those present later argued whether this was a challenge or a performance, whether it mattered or was staged, but all agreed the pressure was real. Bruce Lee spoke quietly. "Hit me." The words landed without explanation, shifting something unseen between them. Ali laughed, sharp and fast. "That's it?" Ali said. "That's all you've got in front of all these people?" Several witnesses later said that was the instant the room locked because retreat was gone. "You hear them?" Ali said. "This doesn't rewind." Bruce Lee stepped forward, not fast, not slow. It is here the story turns symbolic, because nothing after this belonged to record, only to retelling. "Remember this," Ali said, "because whatever happens next, nobody forgets who called it." The ring acknowledged them both, and the silence that followed did not feel empty, only unfinished, already bending toward a version of events that would survive them. Some later swore they felt the air tighten, others said nothing changed. But all agreed the moment could not be taken back. History never claimed it, legend did, and the ring kept listening. Long before outcome, the choice itself had already been made. Here it begins. Now Muhammad Ali did not lower his voice as the moment stretched, because volume was how he claimed space. "You don't walk into my ring and wait," he said, words stacked with certainty. "This is where men show up," Ali continued, louder now, and witnesses later recalled how each sentence landed like ownership. He talked to the crowd as much as to Bruce, reminding them that this was his language, his pace, his decision. "Say something," Ali pressed, impatience creeping into the rhythm, "or let everyone see what silence looks like." Stories say Bruce Lee did not answer, and that absence shifted the balance of attention. Ali filled it immediately, dismissing mystery with laughter, calling restraint a trick, daring proof to arrive faster. "You hear them," Ali said, gesturing outward, because belief was already on his side. Those present later claimed this was no longer about skill but authority, about who got to define what mattered. Ali spoke as if the answer had already been decided, pressing forward, tightening the moment with every word. "Come on," he said, "don't make this smaller than it is," because walking away would read like loss. The more he talked, witnesses later noted, the heavier the expectation became. Silence turned into provocation, and Ali treated it that way, raising stakes that could not be lowered without consequence. This phase, retellings insist, mattered because it set the terms, one man declaring reality aloud while the other left it open. Ali leaned into the moment, voice sharpened as if language itself could force resolution. "Say it," he finished, eyes locked forward, because the ring was listening, and he intended to be heard. Those who later told the story agreed on this. The challenge had hardened, and nothing spoken after would feel casual again. Control felt close, but not complete, and that gap was where tension settled, waiting. Ali breathed in, smiling still, certain the moment belonged to him, unaware that certainty was already being tested by quiet. The crowd leaned forward, sensing that pressure had chosen sides, even if outcome had not yet arrived here tonight yet. Ali kept talking because stopping would mean yielding ground. "You don't win moments like this by waiting," he said, voice sharp. Those present later said Bruce Lee did not rush to answer. He stood there, eyes level, as if time belonged to him. Ali filled the space again, laughing, talking, pushing. "Say something," Ali pressed, because silence felt like resistance. Bruce answered without raising his voice. "Timing matters," he said. Witnesses later argued that this was when the rhythm shifted. Ali smiled, but it tightened. "You think this is about rhythm," Ali said, half joking, half edged. Bruce did not answer immediately. That pause drew more attention than any insult could. Ali stepped closer, words coming faster. "Don't play calm with me," he said. Stories say impatience crept into his laughter. Bruce finally spoke again, shorter this time. "If you rush it, you miss it." That line did not challenge power, it redirected focus. Ali stopped smiling. Those watching later said doubt flickered and vanished. Ali spoke louder to bury it. "You hear this?" he said, pointing outward. Bruce nodded once. Nothing more. That restraint unsettled the exchange. The challenger kept talking, but the certainty thinned. Retellings insist this was not avoidance but control. Ali sensed it and pushed harder. "Say it again," he demanded. Bruce met his eyes. "I'm already here," he said. The imbalance widened. Silence stretched, heavy and deliberate. Ali broke it, because he could not let it stand. "This isn't over," he said. Those present later agreed something was being delayed, not avoided. The pressure climbed unevenly. Ali kept the floor, but not the moment. "You're testing me," Ali said, voice sharper now. Bruce shook his head slightly. No explanation followed. That absence pressed harder than insult. Ali exhaled, then spoke again, slower. "You think patience wins this," he said. Bruce answered once. "Timing always does." Witnesses later claimed that was when humour disappeared. Ali straightened. The crowd leaned closer. Words were still winning space, but losing ground. Ali spoke again to reclaim it. "Stay ready," he warned. Bruce said nothing. That was the point. Control had not shifted, but it was slipping. Ali felt it and refused to stop talking, because silence was no longer empty. It was choosing sides. Ali spoke once more, louder, to end the imbalance. Bruce waited, and the waiting held. Nothing resolved, but everything tilted forward. The moment stayed unfinished. Ali's voice sped up because slowing down felt like losing. "We're done waiting," he said, stepping wider. "You don't freeze a moment like this." Those present later said his hands moved more than before. Bruce Lee stayed still. "Say it," Ali pressed. "Say what this is." Bruce answered lightly. "It's already moving." The challenger laughed, too fast. "Moving where?" he said, words colliding now. "You think quiet wins?" Bruce shook his head once. "I think pressure shows itself." Witnesses later disagreed on when impatience arrived, only that it did. Ali talked over the pause. "You hear that?" he told the ring. "That's avoidance." Bruce did not correct him. The silence stretched just long enough to feel deliberate. Ali stepped again, gestures larger, voice sharper. "Don't stand there," he said. "Meet it," Bruce replied, brief. "You're meeting yourself." The crowd shifted. Some later claimed the air felt unstable. Ali pushed harder. "I control this," he said, repeating it, as if repetition could anchor certainty. Bruce nodded slightly. Nothing more. That nod unsettled the rhythm. Ali accelerated, provoking now. "Hit me back with words," he demanded. Bruce waited. When he spoke, it was smaller. "Timing breaks rush." That line landed unevenly. Ali smiled, then stopped. His foot set forward where the ground was not ready, a fraction off balance that vanished as quickly as it appeared. Witnesses later argued whether it mattered. Ali kept talking to erase it. "You see," he said louder, "this ends when I say." Bruce's eyes stayed calm. "Ends arrive on their own." Ali's tone hardened. "You think you're in control," he said. Bruce answered once. "I'm letting it show." That was when voices quieted. Ali felt the shift and pressed forward because pressure had to peak somewhere. "This isn't patience," he said. "It's hiding." Bruce did not respond. The imbalance widened. Ali spoke again, last, louder than before. "We're done delaying," he said, because if he stopped, the moment would choose without him. Some later said the ring seemed to lean inward. Ali kept ownership through sound. "Look at him," he said, still waiting. Bruce remained quiet. The challenger's certainty thinned into insistence. "This doesn't stay balanced," Ali said. "Someone tips it." Bruce lifted his eyes. "It already is." Murmurs followed. Ali heard them and raised his voice. "I decide when," he said. Bruce offered nothing. The pause cut deeper. Ali spoke again, faster. "You think I won't act," he said. Bruce answered softly. I think you will. The words landed unfinished, hanging, pulling the moment forward. No one moved, yet control kept sliding, and the challenger spoke again, louder. To stop the silence from deciding for him before it chose without permission from anyone present there. Ali broke the stillness first. All right, he said. Enough talk. Those present later said Bruce Lee looked up, finally closing the space with his voice. Then hit me, Bruce said. What happened next was never meant to be verified. Some claimed the words were softer. Others swore they cut through the room. Ali answered instantly. You asked for it, he said, stepping in. Witnesses later disagreed on sequence, but nearly all versions compress into seconds. Ali moved with intention, forward pressure demanding resolution. Bruce did not retreat. He shifted. In that shift, a single misjudged weight commitment placed force where ground did not wait. Breath left the challenger before it announced itself. No one could agree how. Some said it was a redirection, others called it absence. Bruce spoke nothing. Ali reacted without language. The exchange ended before explanation could form. 3 seconds, some insist. Less, others argue. What followed became confused. The crowd did not erupt. Silence replaced sound. Ali stepped back, eyes narrowed. That's it, he said, voice lower now. Bruce remained still. Those present later claimed certainty collapsed inward, not violently, but unmistakably. Ali laughed once, sharp. You think that means something, he said. No answer came. Bruce's restraint refused interpretation. Witnesses later argued whether anything decisive occurred. I didn't see a strike, some said. I saw timing, others insisted. The ring felt altered. Confidence had nowhere to stand. Ali spoke again, louder, trying to reclaim it. Nobody saw anything, he said. Bruce finally spoke briefly. They felt it. That line travelled faster than movement. Ali inhaled, then stopped himself. The moment had already passed. Those retelling the story agreed on one thing. The noise did not return. Expectation rewrote itself. Whatever happened did not look like victory. It looked like exposure. Force met nothing and found itself revealed. Witnesses spoke over each other. Did you see that? One said. Another shook his head. Nothing happened. Ali heard both. You all expected fireworks, he said, forcing a grin. That wasn't it. He paced once. I'm still standing, he said, louder, reclaiming sound. Bruce did not move. Someone later claimed Ali's voice changed there. Don't turn this into myth, Ali warned. It was 3 seconds. Others remembered him saying, That's all it was. The room stayed quiet. Bruce offered nothing. Ali pointed outward. You'll tell it wrong, he said. I know you will. Some later denied anything shifted. He slipped, one said. Another insisted. He didn't. The disagreement fed the silence. Ali listened, jaw tight. You see, he said, this is how stories start. Bruce stayed where he was. No one answered. Ali looked around. Remember it how you need, he said. The ring stayed listening. Ali exhaled sharply, voice lower now. Well, he said, pacing the ring. Witnesses later claimed his steps seemed uncertain, even as he tried to reclaim authority. You think that was something? He asked aloud, more to the room than to Bruce. Bruce Lee did not answer. A few people said he tilted his head once, almost imperceptibly, a gesture that might have been acknowledgement or nothing at all. I'm still standing, Ali continued, louder, trying to push back the tension. Those nearby later argued whether it was confidence or disbelief showing. Did you see that? Ali asked, as if questioning the crowd could anchor meaning. Bruce remained still. Ali laughed, uneven, forcing air through doubt he refused to admit. Timing, you say? He muttered. Silence replied. Someone later swore the challenger stepped back, exhaling, while another insisted he smiled briefly, a cover for unspoken recognition. It doesn't matter, Ali said finally, voice clipped, tone attempting dismissal. Bruce said nothing. That absence amplified the story. Everyone's talking, Ali muttered to no one in particular. Nobody knows what happened. Witnesses later described the air as fragile, the kind of quiet that feels heavier than words. Some argued Bruce had let control slip just enough to unsettle the challenger without touching him. Others said nothing had shifted at all. Ali spoke again, softer now, almost to himself. "Maybe it wasn't supposed to be loud," he admitted. Bruce remained still. The crowd murmured, unsure whether to cheer, laugh, or stay frozen. Ali tried once more. "We'll call it nothing, I guess," he said, voice edged with forced finality. Still nothing came from Bruce. Observers later insisted that his restraint, his silence, had done more than words could, allowing ambiguity to spread, forcing debate before clarity could arrive. Some swore they saw recognition in a nod, others denied it completely. "I don't know what to tell them," Ali said finally, jaw tight, stepping aside. The ring seemed to hold its breath. Bruce stayed where he was, unchanged, unclaimed by victory, leaving the moment unresolved, and the story fractured immediately into rumour, interpretation, and legend, carried forward by those who needed meaning more than fact. Years later, those who claimed to witness the encounter still disagreed, each version carrying its own weight. Some said Ali stepped back, jaw tight, masking disbelief. Others insisted he laughed it off, trying to reclaim the narrative. Bruce Lee spoke nothing, his silence measured, deliberate, leaving the story untethered from outcome. Witnesses later claimed that quiet did more than words could, letting uncertainty ripple outward, forcing interpretation where certainty failed. Ali's later denials, firm yet uneven, only fed curiosity, creating layers of rumour that grew faster than memory. Some whispered that nods were exchanged, private acknowledgements that passed unnoticed by the crowd, while others insisted nothing shifted at all. What followed became symbolic. Timing over power, restraint over declaration, absence over presence. Stories say the ring itself seemed to hold its breath, caught between respect and denial, waiting for closure that never arrived. Over time, what mattered was no longer who moved first or last, but what the moment represented, the idea that some encounters cannot be owned, only remembered, debated, and mythologized. Those retellings insisted that certainty was unnecessary, because legend thrives on unresolved tension. And so the story endured, not in record books, not in decisive outcomes, but in whispers, recollections, and the quiet acknowledgement that some moments exist precisely because they resist closure, leaving the mind to measure what courage, timing, and restraint truly mean.